It's inevitable that you're going to get a flat. My worst day ever on a bike ride, and I didn't think I wanted to ride a bike again. I had 7 flats in one day and went through all my entire patch kit. I had 2 extra spares with me, and that was the most dreadful riding day I've had in my career. But this will happen. I got a flat tire on my back tire, and there's several things that you can do to make this fairly easy and fairly quick. First thing is you want to get your gearing in the right gear, and if you look at your cog set, you actually want to go down to the smallest cog because that'll make that transfer and that drop out of the drops, which is right here at the bottom of your chainstay, easy. I'm just going to shift my bike as I'm pedaling it, and as you shift it, you want to just throw it down in that lower gear. The second thing is that if you actually put your hand on your derailleur, loosen your little wing nut and just hold that nut. It'll take several revolutions. And then once I'm able to sort of cock the derailleur back, I can actually push down on my tube and pull back at the same time, and it comes out pretty easily. Now step 2, I've got to get the tire off. You want to try to put your tire iron underneath just the bead of the tire. If you get your tire in there too far, you'll actually pinch the tire as you apply pressure. So just get it under the outer edge. Now once I get to this point, I generally can just slide my fingers underneath that bead and then just go all the way around the perimeter of the tire and then just pull the tube out. So the last part that I'm going to pull out is right by the stem, and it's out, and I'm ready to patch my hole. Now to patch the hole, you've got to find it first, and the first thing you want to do before you actually look for the hole in the tube is to check to see if you picked up a thorn or a piece of glass. And the easiest thing to do is just to run your fingers on the outer edge, and you have to look at it carefully as you're doing that, and also run your fingers on the inside edge. So the next thing is just to actually inflate the tire. Generally can hear all the sounds from a little hole, and once you find that spot, you've got to obviously mark it. So I hear my spot right over here, and it's coming out. So I'm going to put my thumb on that, take the pump off, and then deflate the tire. And I'm going to open my patch kit, and all the patch kits have a rough little piece of sandpaper. And the sandpaper allows you to rough up the surface of the rubber, and actually when you put the glue on, it'll adhere much better. You have to actually let the glue sit for about 2 to 3 minutes, and it will feel almost tacky to the touch. It'll begin to look kind of dry. If I try to put the patch on while it's too moist, the patch will slide across the tube. It just won't adhere. And I've got my spot, so I'm going to wait here for about 2 or 3 minutes and let this set. When you look at the glue, it'll actually have kind of a glossy sheen to it, and it's ready to accept this little patch. So I'm just going to pull that off and place that from one outer edge over the patch, and then just make sure that I'm pressing it out with my fingernail. Ideally, I'd like to hold this for about 1 minute to 1.5 minutes, and I can just clamp it down with my thumb, or if you can step on it with your heel, that'll work well. Now obviously during a race, you wouldn't do this. In a race, you want to try to expedite this whole process, and the way that you'd expedite it, if you're running with a clincher tire, which I have right here, then you're going to have an extra tube. That extra tube is this one. You'd put that extra tube on, take a CO2 cartridge that would take you up to the pressure of your tire diameter, blow it up, and you're off. You don't have to worry about patching it. If you have a sew-up tire, all you have to do is exchange that sew-up tire, again take the CO2 cartridge, and you're off again. So we're ready to go now, and the next step is to actually put this back in onto the rim. And you can see I didn't take the tire off. It's unnecessary to roll the whole tire off. I just want to have one bead off. So I want to find the valve entry and make sure that I put the valve in first, and make sure that it's straight up and down. So what I'm going to do is I just place 2 hands on here, and I'm just going to actually roll it with the heel of my hands. And as I go around the perimeter of the tire now, I'm pushing it in with my thumb, and I'm just rolling it on. And you need to be careful that you get it tucked in nicely, or that tube can pinch, and as you blow it up, you're going to have a big problem. And I can just roll this one on. And finally, I'm just going to roll it back and forth to make sure it looks like the whole tube is inside the casing. Next step, you got to pump up the thing. And then just pump that thing up. Unhook it, pull it off, make sure I seal this up, pack up all my goodies, and now when you put your tire back on to your bike, just roll it underneath, and you want to make sure that you get the chain over the top and into that first cog, because that's where you took it off. I'm going to tighten up my hex nut over here till it's firm on my wing nut on the far side, and I'm ready to go. It's fairly easy. You just have to remember the steps, and I think a lot of times when people change their tire, they end up panicking. It's a very easy step. Number one important rule is let that glue adhere before you put the patch on, or it won't stick. Good luck to you.